Hello everyone, and welcome back to another WARNO video, this time about the Mortier patch, which is quite the interesting patch as it changes a lot about multiplayer. It is not the second part of the big rework yet, it is more in addition to the first one. It also adds good a bit content map-wise. We didn't get any new single player content yet, that is also still in the works with the first campaign, the Bruderkrieg scenario, and more scenarios in general on the way, more operations. But we start here with the debug salient, getting some changes. TAD UKs, which just didn't exist at the time, replaced by TAD BVKs. And then some improvements to tutorials as well, which is obviously nice because new players need those to be good. And yeah, every improvement there is helpful so that those are smoother. Means that new players find the game easier, and that is fantastic. So yeah, good that there's still some focus on that, and hopefully more tutorials to come in the future once the game is finished about more detailed stuff. Maps, we get the new 3v3 airport map, which is really cool. It also has the new urban combat split up on it, so that is quite nice. And yeah, the map in general, just beautiful with all its stuff going on. Yeah, the map in the center and so on. It's a really, really well-designed map. Has some cool locations with crashed planes and so on. So that is nice. And yeah, then we also got some fixes to Twin Cities and we got the first new duelist version of ranked maps. And the first one here is Two Lakes, which we already talked about last Friday in the Friday Night WARNO with the devs. Yeah, the idea is to have less heavy focus on the center zones, so that deep pushes are more rewarded. In general, having a decent amount of zones on each map, and zones also being a bit more smaller, so that it's when you drive in there, you really have them secure. Yeah, so some ideas being tested there. Leave your feedback to the devs. The map team is super responsive to it, and they absolutely want the feedback of the community. They develop more and more of these. A lot of them are in the works. For example, one version of the airport map as well. And then the last thing we get is Rift, Twin Cities, and Triple Strike in 10v10 maps, which is really cool as well as tactical maps. But yeah, more 10v10 maps is great news, and I'm really happy to see them. New explosions, fuel and helicopter crashes, which is really cool. Those explosions look pretty nice, and any kind of changes and less standardized explosions, for sure, cool thing, so that things look more different. And then we come to the gameplay changes themselves, which are quite numerous as well, starting with an era trait for all tanks with reactive pricks. So mostly focused on Soviet tanks, but also obviously something like the Brenners involved there as well. And they now gain 2 more hit points, going up from 10 to 12 hit points. But they don't get extra armor anymore, or less extra armor in comparison to the non-reactive counterparts. Yeah, KDUD being different there, but most of them now have more hit points instead of more armor compared to their normal counterparts, T62, yeah, AMX30B2 Brennis, E80BVK, and so on. To represent that these give you more survivability, but they deteriorate, and they don't give you more protection afterwards, after they deteriorate. So it's pretty cool. It also shows that they can be replenished by supply, basically, which is nice as well. And I think it's a good way of showing the era system in a way that it is authentic, obviously without being fully realistic, but it is a nice authentic representation of how era is affecting the battlefield. And then, yeah, next thing is some changes to infantry weapons. Small splash damage has been added, and that's especially helpful for when they shoot on buildings and other infantry in buildings and so on. And when enemy infantry is super stacked. Yeah, increase to autocannon accuracy as well, which is absolutely necessary. as autocannons were pretty bad last patch. I don't think this is a massive buff, but it's a nice buff, and I like that we go up in small changes now, because, yeah, autocannons before were way too good. Now we go up in small changes to getting back up there. Bigger infantry rework still coming with the second big rework. So this is just small steps. This is not where we will end up completely. And some fixes to ATGMs and MMGs and HMGs and how they interact. And then transport helicopters going up in price again, and also helicopters being reduced in speed. They have higher maneuverability, so this is somewhat fine, and reduces the early helicopter spam by a bit in its strength and how far they can rush and so on. And with the helicopter price increase, this is a nice nerf to the pretty prevalent helicopter play at the moment. Shutdown helicopters cost a bit more, and that is nice. ATGM Jeeps were too strong as well. They were everywhere since the ATGM buff. So them going up 5 points in price, especially as they're pretty stealthy, is nice as well. And then we got some damage to autocannons here once more. So together with the accuracy, this is a decent buff, as it's obviously single digit, so it's not massive, but it didn't need a massive buff in my eyes. And yeah, we will see how this ends up. Might get one more buff in the future, but autocannons for sure are back, and that is nice. It's the zombie meta is getting it approached, and the zombie meta, the flying zombie meta especially, should be somewhat gone. It will be interesting to see what we will get into now. And then we have a lot of balance changes. Gazelle Cannon, Puma, Pirat going up in price again. I'm not super happy with this, especially as helicopters already got price reduced, but we will see where this goes. Obviously in big numbers they were pretty strong. And then some range changes here. M1 and M1 IP went up from 2100 to 2275 meter range. That is together with some other range changes. T-72s went down in range. The base version down to 1925, and the other versions to 2100 meter range, which is quite interesting. They got more frontal armor for it though. So T-72 really a crawler tank now that has to get closer, but can tank a bit more, which is quite interesting. And then the T-55 AM2s went up in range as well, as you can see here. So yeah, a lot of changes there. A lot of changes to frontal armor later on here as well. Outside of that, some price changes. AMX-30s going up in price. They lost some armor as well, as you can see. And that was all hinted on before. Yeah, no, they actually decreased some of the price. But yeah, frontal armor of AMX is too lower now, so that's quite massive. Their autocannon got buffed in accuracy, which will be interesting to see how that performs. But they should be real class cannons now. And I really like these changes because they make the semi-medium tanks that we had before, with like all medium tanks having similar amount of armor, similar amount of range, and so on, quite different now. Like AMX-30 is for sure now a class cannon. It is fast. It has a good autocannon though, so if you get close, you still get bonus out of it, but you risk getting destroyed quite quickly. T-72 just can't fire on the long ranges, can't win there, but has to get closer, but it also can get closer. And it's pretty efficient when you do that. T-55 AM2 now is a cheap tank that has long range, so that is pretty cool as well. And yeah, outside of that, M1 Abrams with high range will be interesting as well. They went up in price. And then yeah, we have some other price changes as well. French infantry getting nerfed a bit here, going up in price, but especially important SAS going up in price is going to be interesting as well. But Reservist, Freiwillige Polizeireserve, and HSF going up in price to 25 points. The zombie hordes getting nerfed in price, and obviously 20 to 25% is a 25% increase. So that is quite hefty. You get quite a bit fewer of them now. So this will be interesting. We see some similar nerfs to the cheap units on the other side, with Fopos going up to 25 points, and that's from 5th team even. So these guys getting nerfed quite hard. Not sure about the KDA price nerf. I don't think that was super warranted, but yeah, we will see about that. Wish there would be have been a different solution. Some other price changes down here, interesting as well. And yeah, with all the changes to armor and so on, this is going to be quite the interesting patch here. As you can see, T-64s and went to different kind of armor, like went up quite high. T-64B from 14 to 17. The armor penetration went down though, so yeah, there is going to be quite a lot of interesting things here now. And in general, armor goes up for most parts outside of the AMX-30s. So tanks will be a bit more survivable. And that is going to be interesting as well. Another big change is the Bastion ATGM going up from 40 to 60, as it is an IRL, a laser beam riding missile. So, and this is a 2,800 meter range missile for everyone who doesn't know it. It's the one that is in the Rapira. It's the one that is in the T-55 AM2B and some other tanks. And with 2,800 meter range and 60% accuracy, it will be really interesting and really strong. So I'm looking forward to see how all of this performs now. And yeah, a lot of interesting changes here. You can obviously find them all down below. But this patch, I'm really hopeful in regards of it changing the zombie meta. It changes survivability of tanks quite interestingly. The era trait stuff and so on also obviously meaning more hit points, more survivability. So it's going to be interesting to see how tanks perform in that regard. And then, yeah, ATGM, yeah, because autocannons going up. Like, everything should be more about combined arms, and that is obviously great. And yeah, as I said, the big rework for air and artillery and so on still coming, but this year is on top of the first patch, and I think it's a nice finishing on that. So yeah, with that said, I hope to see you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like, consider leaving a subscription down below as well, and see you next time. Bye bye.